Okay, welcome back everybody. Before we talk about Route 53, in the break, something else came to my mind. So S3, by the way, is one of the most important aspects of the certification. So my only recommendation is that do it, do it like how you want to use it in production system. Like bring the complex use cases, like how Ravi brought up. He's using it, so he brought up the use cases. So how can I solve the problems like that? Try to do it, and then you'll pass the exam anyway. Because by then you will have a thorough knowledge of all of this. So you'll get at least 6-7 questions, I think, in S3. It's a very, very big topic from the certification perspective. And AWS really expects you to read all the FAQs in S3. In fact, it's not specific to S3. For almost all the topics, it expects you to really go through all the FAQs. So I just want to mention that. And how we can use this CLI, right? I just got a decent idea. So I'll go to S3. Maybe I'll share this idea first. So this is the bucket, and I have an index.html. So what I will do is, locally, I'll create a complicated index.html file locally in my machine, and I will upload it to S3. Okay. Then I'll create a new EC2 instance. As part of the creation of EC2 instance itself, I don't need to wait until it gets created. When I create an EC2 instance, you can there is a place where you can specify the role. So specify the role, and then in your user data section, where you can write your own code, the bootstrapping code. At the bootstrapping code, how about do a AWS S3 command to go get your HTML files and store it in var www.html. Am I making sense? Let me show you what I'm saying here. Let me create a new instance. See here, there is a section for you to, as part of the creation of this EC2 instance, you can say, hey, I want you to assume this role, S3 full access role. Sure. And then in this section, I'll copy the boilerplate stuff, the basic stuff. Okay, see, I did m update, install HTTPD, started the HTTPD and check config. All of this is good, but I don't want to, echo hello world into this. This is just day one way of doing things, right? I don't like this. Rather, we have our index.html in S3. Let's download that. As part of my EC2 instance bootstrapping, we just found out AWS CLI, right? So why not use AWS S3, copy. Oh, by the way, what we'll do is first let's go to cd var www.html. So I'm inside now var www.html folder. And now AWS S3, copy S3:// whatever that bucket name is. Make sense? / index.html. My EC2 instance will be able to make this CLI call because it assumes this role. I want you to understand that. If I take out it, if I say none, then this command will not work. I hope that's pretty straightforward. I know it's not dynamic, meaning only at the time of bootstrapping this EC2 instance, it's getting the HTML files from S3. So essentially what I'm doing is I can keep the code in S3. I can download it as part of my EC2 instance creation is all I'm saying. It's that straightforward. It's a static code. I have it in S3. I can get it. Let's wait for it to be coming up. By the way, in the previous class, actually last Saturday, I wanted to show you, what happens when your request hits the CloudFront, right? So I wanted to show you that what happens if your request does not hit the CloudFront, how your HTTP headers will show up in the browser. I wanted to show you that, and it's just a timing. So you have to wait for a long time, like 20, 30 minutes. So what I will do is, while this guy is coming up, before we start Route 53, I'll go ahead and create a new CloudFront distribution. Okay. And then I wanted to show you towards the end. By then we'll have given enough time. Okay. So this guy is coming up. Let's go ahead and connect and take a look at it. CD or HTML directly. Okay. Is it still doing it or it failed? Let's take a look at it. It did not come up yet. US is to C initializing 172.31.34.163.
Hey, Venkat.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Raghu. I think I was not able to join on through my laptop because it kept asking me for the meeting password.
Are you trying to join or?
Yeah. It's asking. It keeps prompting.
Okay. So let's go. Nope. There must be some error. Var HTML. So what could be the problem? So how do I get my user data? So what I can do is call HTTP 169.250. Okay. Are you still having issues?
Yeah, same thing. Even with the app is asking for a password. Let me restart my laptop
now. 1 second. Okay, guys. So earlier I talked about instance metadata. When I told you about instance metadata, I told you your instance metadata is inside this URL 169.254.169.254/latest and /metadata, right? You'll get the metadata, meta-data. This is how you can get all the metadata information about your EC2 instance. So what was the problem we just faced? we just faced that. Actually, what is the expected behavior? What are we expecting? Well, what we were hoping to find out was, we logged into this EC2 instance, and I went into var www HTML, and I was hoping to see index.html here, because I put it in the bootstrap script that go to S3, go to that particular bucket, get the index.html and put it in www.html is what I thought I did. Okay, there is a small typo. I'll mention it to you what it is, but it didn't happen. So I'm like, okay, this is fine, but what script did I write? As part of the bootstrap, what script did I write? How can I look at that? So like how we have a metadata information, similarly, you can have something called user data, user/data. And now it gave me the code that I wrote. My shebang, yum update, install, my Apache installation, install, Apache started, check config on. I went to var www.html. Take a look at this one, the CLI command, AWS S3 cp s3 //index.html, and there is a typo there. It's extremely hard to, for you to figure out, but can you try?
Current directory is missing dot.
Who is that? Kalyan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's correct. That's correct. So it's see that? It's saying too few arguments. Towards the end, I didn't give the dot. That's what the problem is. Now download fail, permission denied, because now I'm logged in as EC2 user, not as a root. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So what I will do is, I will copy this guy. I'll copy this guy. I'll copy this guy. I'll go ahead and terminate both of these instances. I'll create a brand new one, launch instance. Okay, IAM role, S3 full access role. And now, okay, I have my, I'll take this guy. Okay, shebang, installed. Check config is on, very good. Check config is on. Now I don't want to copy this day one stuff. That's all day one. Now we are not in day one anymore. We are advanced AWS people now. So check config is on, cd var www.html, AWS S3, copy this index.html into dot, current directory. Okay? The dot was missing earlier. That was the problem. Good catch. Okay. So I'm glad that happened. You know why? Because I wanted to show you both instance metadata and user data. And I forgot about that. So to get the metadata, it's a /metadata. And if you want to find out whatever the bootstrap script that you wrote, if you want to get that, then use /user data. 169.254, 169.254 latest /user data. Okay. Now let's see what's happening. Oh, by the way, did I tell you this? Go to actions, instance settings, get system log. You can get the system log also here. I know you have to give it a couple of minutes. Take a look at that system log also. Whatever happened during bootstrap, it will give you the clear log there. Anyways, so let's go ahead and connect. Looks like it's still doing it. There you go. This index.html, where do you think it got copied from?
S3.
S3. Exactly. So now we are combining these concepts together to make it, to have, this is fun. I mean, learning the fundamentals is important, but this is fun. And then once you install Java, install Tomcat, and build a small WAR file in your machine, and then put it out there, and then play with it. That's the next level, right? Okay, so I hope you got that. You understood what the use case here? We put the code, we put the source code in S3 as part of the instance bootstrapping. We got that source code from S3 and put it into Route53 and of course we started Apache before that. So what it means is, if I go to this public DNS, I'll get that. So this code came from S3. But the only thing is, it's a static. I want you to understand that. Meaning, if I go and change this source code in S3, it will not automatically get reflected in your EC2. I want you to know that. That's not the intention. Wonderful. That's a small point I wanted. It just came to my mind. Okay, how about this? Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about the Route 53. So Amazon Route 53. So Route 53 is a DNS service. So what exactly is a domain name system? So as you guys know, all the computers that are connected to internet, they're all connected one way or the other. So on each computer has a unique either IPv4 or IPv6 address. And once you get into one machine, meaning one IP address, within that we have multiple applications. We have Apache, we have Tomcat, we have database. Each one is running on different port. Okay, so DNS, domain naming system, is essentially a service where this is like your telephone directory. You give your name and it gives you the phone number. I never have to remember the phone number. All I have to do is I just have to remember the name, and then name to value pair. That key pair is maintained in my phone, or let's say somewhere it's maintained, Yellow Pages or somewhere. So essentially that key value pair. So the DNS is nothing but the key value pair for your DNS names, like your Amazon.com. Behind the scenes, Amazon.com is associated with one IP address. Of course, it can be dynamic one, that's a different story, but it's associated to an IP address. When your browser makes a call, HTTP GET call to Amazon.com, it's actually sending this packet HTTP request to an IP address. But how do I get the IP address? Well, I want to deal with the user-friendly DNS names. I don't want to deal with this number dots, either IPv4 or IPv6. I want to deal with a simple user-friendly names. So that's where the DNS helps, and DNS does just that. And Amazon Route 53 is a service that does that. So this is where you can register your domain. Okay, so if you want a brand new website, you go to Amazon Route 53, you register your domain, and then you can map them to any of the underlying services. You can map that domain name to a S3 bucket, for example, or to an EC2 instance, for example, or an application load balancer, for example, or your CloudFront distribution. So you can assign it to anyone. And then you'll always deal with the user-friendly name. Your next step.training is one of the examples, right? So how can we do that? And why did they call Route 53? You guys know that Amazon, there is a US most famous route, right? I believe it's Route 61 that goes from coast to coast, 66, I believe.
66, I think.
66, thank you. It's not 61, okay, it's 66. So it goes from coast to coast, and it's probably the longest one in the US. So it came from that spirit. But the reason they used 53 instead of any other number, or 66 itself, is because DNS uses port 53. DNS runs on port 53. That is why they use this Route 53. Okay. They got the spirit from Route 66. And then they use this 53. So essentially it does the routing. When you make the request, see this one, it does the DNS management. Okay. Your DNS name to IP address mapping, it does that. And your traffic management, once it takes the request, do I have to send it to an S3 bucket, or do I have to send it to an EC2? Do I have to send it to an application load balancer, which internally sends it to several others? So one way or the other. And of course, your availability monitoring and domain registration, you can do it. Availability monitoring, it will find, it'll find out what is available, what is not, etc. Okay, who is up, who is down, essentially. So the domain registration. So let's go ahead and get started. So if you have any registered domains here, it will show you. If you don't have any, let's go ahead and register a domain. And let's check for, so it's ranging from $12 a year, $11, $25. Oh, there are some $9 also. DE, I think it's German one, right? Dot adult is $100. Dot band is dot BE, $100. Camera, wow, dot camera. So the other day we looked at AWS, right? How did we get the dot AWS? No, that's not the top level domain name. They did some magic. So these are all the top level domain names. Healthcare, limited, limo, link, ninja. Anyways, you got the point. Okay, I'll leave the .com. So let me pick, actually, I own this domain for almost a decade or maybe more, Java Venkat, and I did not register 1 year. Sorry, I did not renew it 1 year, and then I lost it. So I'll go ahead and get that guy. So you'll have to enter all the details. I don't need to record this, any of this information. So let me go ahead and pause recording. So after I entered my details, it's asking registrant contact, administrative contact, technical contact. So yes, give my name for everything. Managing DNS for your new domain. Yeah, we'll use Amazon itself to manage this one. So Amazon Route 53 pricing, you can take a look at that. Do you want to automatically renew your domain? I will disable it. I do not want this to be renewed automatically. And terms and conditions, sure, and complete order. Order submitted successfully, close it. Pending requests, domain registration in progress. So it takes some time. So meanwhile, we can do we can do a couple of other things. Let's go ahead and check. Okay, it's in progress. Let me pause it. Maybe I'll have to verify my email ID. Okay. So I got the domain javavenkat.com, right? So now once this domain, once this request is complete, I will see records in hosted zones. I don't have any hosted zones yet, but the registration domain has to be, the pending request has to be complete. So it typically takes a couple of hours. Let's see. So anyways, so we'll do the plumbing work meanwhile. So I have this domain. Now I wanted to show you various aspects to it, meaning I wanted to show you how to use your S3 bucket. Okay, how do you want to forward your request to S3 bucket? So this is just the name. Okay, this is just your domain name, and then it will manage the IP address and it will manage the DNS. Okay, and once the registration process is complete, that's when I can show you in the hosted zone. It will automatically, show me that. There we will be able to route the traffic to appropriate buckets. Okay, either S3 bucket or EC2 instance, etc. I'll show you that. Okay, since the domain registration takes some time, so I will show you that probably later towards the end of the class. We'll continuously monitor that. But I switched to a different account. This is my second account. This is where I'll manage my my business accounts. So go to services and click on Route 53. And once you click on Route 53, if you have any registered domains, it will show you. So I have my registered domain, nextstep.training. Okay. So, and then I have another registered domain, which I did not renew it, nextsteptraining.com. And then I have another one, sonicvisionllc.com. So I have 3 of them, business accounts. So now what happens after the registration process is complete is click on your hosted zones or go to dashboard. It will show you here in the DNS management. Go to hosted zones. So in the hosted zones, since you are managing, since you chose Route 53 as your domain registrar, okay, so you registered your domains through Route 53, AWS Route 53, it will automatically bring up here. Now I will take this as an example. We can play with, I don't want to play with these two, but I'll play with this one, sonicvisionllc.com. I will show you how it looks. Okay, right now, if you try to go to, please go to your browsers and try, getting access. sonicvisionllc.com, it's one word. Go to your browser and then go there. Try to go to this URL. Now, come back here. Watch me do it here. I clicked on this hosted zones. Okay, in the hosted zones, I clicked on this sonicvisionllc.com. So what am I doing right now? Well, there are multiple. This is called hosted zone. The way any DNS works is that this is my name of the website, sonicvisionllc.com. And this one, this is the name of the DNS record, and this is the value of the DNS record. And then this one, the intermediate one, is called a type. This one is called a record of the DNS entry. So there are multiple DNS entries. So each one of them is called, this one is called a record, this is called MS record, MX record, this is called namespace record, this is SOA record, and this is a record for a different domain. This is www.sonicvisionllc.com. This one is a naked domain. It doesn't have a www or anything else. So this is a record for a naked domain. This is a record for www. Well, a record, it's an authoritative record. So what it is saying is that this is where it points to what IP address your domain name should point to. Your sonicvisionllc.com, when public calls, when a browser makes a call across the globe, where should I forward this request to? That is what the A record dictates. So go here and take a look at this one here. Name is this, type is A record, okay? And IPv4 address. And do I have an alias or not? If I don't have an alias, so I want to go with the easiest one. So this is where you will give the IPv4 address. Then when you go to this particular website, your request will be forwarded to this one. So this is what I want to do. In this account, I will go ahead and spin a new EC2 instance, and I will forward the request to that EC2 instance. So this is how it looks currently, SonicVision LLC, right? So I want to change that. So let's go to EC2. I don't have any running instances. Let's go ahead and kick off a new EC2 instance. And I'll get my Unix accounts, bootstrap. Okay, hello world. I'll call this welcome to Route 53 demo. Okay. Okay, welcome to Route 53 demo. I put it in Word, www.html. Straightforward. Select security group, web server security group. Am I giving 80 to everybody? Yes, I'm giving. And in fact, I want to, yeah, this is good enough. Nope, I did not serve. Okay. So now let this come up. And meanwhile, I have this IPv4 public IP, right? See this one, this is the IP address. So let's go to this public IP address and then try going. Once this comes up, yep, it's running now. Let's go to this public IP and then see what comes up. Nothing. Okay, so why? Because something is not running, or we'll figure it out. Maybe HTTP is not running, or
I think that you gave H1 tag, right? It's not a Unix command.
no, I put it inside the double quotes.
Oh,
Really. Yeah, I put it inside the double quotes, unless I made a mistake there. But even then.
Can we look at the log from here?
Absolutely. No, that's only the system log. System log, actually, you have to wait for a minute here. Typically, you have to give a couple of minutes. Okay. And I'm not able to connect to it. It's because of my security groups. Oops, I'm sorry. I clicked on the wrong ones. Let's go to security group here. Inbound rules. Edit inbound rules. I want to allow port 22 to anywhere so that I can use my, very good. Now I can log in and then see what's going on there, right? Connect. Okay. So let's see if HTTPD is running. Well, it's running. Okay, index.html is also there. Yeah, this is all good. And did I capture the public IP correctly? I did. Okay, it's coming up. It's just a matter of time. It's still initializing it. So, okay. So this is the IP address. This is the public IP at this time. Okay, it's a dynamic IP. It could change. So never rely on these public IPs. Okay, so it could change. So now this is how it shows. Now what we'll do is, now we have Route 53. So we have a website there. Let's forward all the requests coming into Sonic Vision LLC into this IPv4. Okay, and to, I believe, Sindhu, probably you asked system log. Let's see if nope, you still have to wait. Anyways, so I got this public IP. I copied this guy. Now let's go to Route 53 and let's go to hosted zone. Let's go to my website and then click on this guy. A record is what you have to look for. A record, naked domains, a record. So a record, and then alias target. Is it an alias? No, it's not an alias. So I'm giving a hard-coded IP. So this is IPv4. This is how in the world any of the 80 to 90% of the DNS records are. So example.com, the corresponding IP address. Amazon.com will have one IP address. If you really look at it, it boils down to one IP, because that one IP is a front-end URL. I know it's application load balancer URL, which will route to probably 10,000 EC2 instances in the background. Correct? So now, every time you change it, take a look at this one. This is TTL. Okay, we talked about TTL, time to live. We talked about time to live when we talked about CloudFront. How long do we want to cache in CloudFront before a request is forwarded to the origin to get the updated content, right? So typically 300 seconds, but I want this to be refreshed immediately. So there is something called DNS propagation. So the DNS servers are all over the globe, right? So when somebody requests this particular sonicvisionllc.com to change, this change has to be reflected across all the DNS servers in the globe. So let's say I get internet connection through a provider called Huawei. Wow, here, okay? So they will have a DNS, and then it's called DNS chaining. So if they have a record, they will give me that. Let's say I'm looking for Amazon.com. If they have it, they will give it. Otherwise, they will go up and then ask, okay, do you guys have a record for Amazon.com? If so, please give me that. So it's cached at every location. So I want to leave that caching for 60 seconds, save record set, and then let's wait for 60 seconds. And then we can check the DNS propagation also. There are some websites out there, DNS propagation checker. What's my DNS? Okay. A record, search for it. 322. Let's take a look at it. What's up? Oh, 322.60.107. Wow, that's it's pretty slick. It's already propagated. Okay, now let's go to our Sonic Vision LLC. There you go. Welcome to Route 53 demo. Can you guys hit this website and then see what you are seeing? Are you guys all getting the same?
Yes.
If you don't get it, I'll not be surprised also, because the propagation may not be complete. See here, New York, NY, it's not there yet. So it's still, yeah, across the globe. So there are some places, New York, NY, but all the other places, they propagated already. So DNS propagation, if you want your website to work absolutely, flawless, then you have to wait for 24 hours. Actually, they say that, if you call your AWS Route 53 guys or GoDaddy, they don't even look at these issues until it passes 72 hours. So it typically takes that long. Okay, so yeah, and now interestingly, this is a naked domain name, right? sonicvisionllc.com. Let's try going into www.sonicvisionllc.com and then see what happens. Let's see that. Oops. Oh, there is a space. It's going to welcome to Route 53 demo. Why? We didn't change that. It's because this www.sonicvisionllc.com has a record. It's an alias to your sonicvisionllc.com naked domain. Your www has an alias to naked domain. Does it make sense? But I can have this forward to different too, and then my www will serve one content, and the naked domain will serve different content. I can have it do absolutely. I can do that. Okay, and there is an additional concept I wanted to show. See here, the routing policy. So there are multiple routing policies. Mouse over it, read that. The method that you want Route 53 to use when routing queries for this record set. Click each option for more information. There is a simple routed routing policy. There is a weighted routing policy, latency routing policy, failover, geolocation, multi-value answer. So a simple routing policy is, as the name says, it's a simple. Okay, meaning everybody gets served the same way. Weighted routing policy. So with the weighted routing policy, everybody gets certain weightage. So if I want to say, 80% of the people to get this and 20% of the people to go to a different one, you can use a weighted routing policy. And then if I want to use a latency based routing policy, so it will, your AWS Route 53 will automatically determine based on where the request is coming from, and based on that, how quickly can I serve it? How quickly can I serve this request? So based on that, it can send it. So see this one, Route 53 responds to queries based on regions that you specify in this and other record sets that have the same name and type. So it will send some requests to US East 2 and some requests to US West 1. So if you have you can configure it to go to different regions based on where the request is coming from. But it's not based on where the request is coming from, but it's based on the latency. How quickly can I serve this? Okay, maybe California, US West 1, right? So California can serve quicker to requests coming from Japan. Does it make sense? So that's based on the latency routing policy, and the failover is, take all the requests to one place, but if that location is down, then take it to somewhere else. Failover. And then there is a geolocation. Our geolocation is very, very, very interesting one, and we typically use it. Geolocation-based routing policy. What it means is, based on where the request is coming from, the request will be taken to appropriate. So you can say that all these Midwest states should go to Ohio. Okay. And all the West Coast should go to US West 1. And all the European traffic should only go to Frankfurt. Okay. So then European traffic can never come to US, and US traffic can never go to European. So we typically use it for a lot of regulatory reasons and and latency reasons and several others. Okay, so these are different routing policies, and let me stick with simple. And this is an IPv4 address that I forwarded it. Okay, this is about, here I selected alias no, right? But if I select an alias yes, then now see sonicvisionllc.com. Now I said it is an alias to something else. Okay, and alias to what? So take all the requests to S3 website endpoints. So it will take it to this S3 bucket. I have an S3 bucket called sonicvisionllc.com. Your S3 bucket must match with your domain name, including your .com. Your S3 bucket must match with your domain name. If you go to S3, you can see that I have a bucket with the same name. It has to match sonicvisionllc.com. And I have another one called www.sonicvisionllc.com. Both of them are in Ohio. So now let me go to Route 53, Sonic Vision LLC. Okay. So yeah, let's give an alias, and now I'll change this to S3 endpoint. Okay, or I can change to elastic load balancers or application load balancer. If you have an application load balancer, you can have application load balancer take the request coming into this website. You can do that. Okay, and if you want to take it to classic load balancers, I know classic load balancers are deprecated. And network load balancers, if you want your network load balancer to take the traffic for these requests, absolutely, go for it. And the CloudFront distributions, all the CloudFront distributions will be allowed here. If you have a CloudFront distribution for your content, you can put your Route 53 in the front end. Okay. And your Elastic Beanstalk and VPC endpoints, we didn't talk about VPC. API gateways, we didn't talk about it, but you got it. So let me take it to S3 endpoint. So let me save it.
Venkat, how does they rectify that whatever the Sonic Vision LLC S3 bucket is created by you only and it is displaying here as alias? It could be somebody else has created some other bucket, right? Why it is not pulling that and just yours only?
Oh, you mean here?
Yes.
So it will show only my buckets. Since I am logged in, it will only show my buckets.
Okay. So it's basically has to have a same admin right on the bucket as
Absolutely.
well as.
Absolutely.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And let's say, Ketan, if I have a bucket name called ketan.com, okay, it will not show here. The reason is I cannot make ketan.com S3 bucket to take the request coming from Sonic Vision LLC. That's not how AWS Route 53 works. So your domain name must match with your bucket name.
Okay. Yep. Got it.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, and has to have the same account admin on both the accounts. Yep.
Exactly. So that's why for all of you, a practical tip. So I recommend all of you spending that additional $12. And if you want to get your own personal website, I highly recommend you do that and play with all the AWS services. We'll make it as complicated as we can. Okay, in the next couple of weeks, right? Because we will make it as HA architecture, as high available architecture as possible. So whatever we are learning, all the techniques that we are learning will combine together into an app, right? So you go ahead and spend that $12. I highly recommend that. And but before you do that, before you choose your domain name, first check if your S3 bucket exists with that name. Somebody else might have taken it. If you have taken it, The only problem is then S3 is not your option. So you can, I hope I made that clear. So let me rephrase it. SonicVisionLLC.com, let's say this is my website and I took this guy, right? I have this domain name, but I don't own that bucket. Then I will not be able to use S3 as my content provider. So I'll have to use application load balancer, EC2 or something else, unfortunately. But S3, I cannot use it, S3 static web page. Currently, I'm using my S3 bucket as a static web page. Okay?
Yes, and one more question, Venkat.
Yeah.
So your Sonic Vision showing some images. So I'm assuming those images are also stored on S3, and S3, whatever your HTML parent code is, which is internally calling these images and loading it, right?
You got it. You got it. Take a look at this one. This is my bucket name. So this is my bucket name, and you look at permissions. I made it completely public, and see here my JavaScript files here, my text index.html assets. So this is where my home page, PNG and see that? That's my PNG file. So they're all stored in the bucket in assets folder, and they are referenced outside of it. Make sense? I built this simple one in Angular, and then I converted all the TypeScript into JavaScript, and then upload it into S3, and then made these permissions public. I did that, and properties. See this one? I made it as a static website hosting. So this is where I can go. By the way, you don't need Route53. This is your website. This is one of the important exam topics also. Your bucket name dot S3 S3 dash website dot your region name dot amazonaws.com. That's your website. Make sense now?
But
Ketan, all of that. This is my website. I don't need, I really don't need Route53. I needed Route53 is because I wanted a user-friendly name. I can't share this with everybody.
Yeah, but it is without the security, right? It is HTTP only, not HTTPS, right?
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah. Okay. So now let me go back to Route53 and then I change it. So Route53, you will pick up at least a couple of points, guys. It's an important topic also. Okay, now let's see what the propagation looks like. DNS propagation. Hey, see that? DNS changed. And now let's go to the website. Control Shift R. No, it's still doing it. Let's wait. Anyone can see new yet?
You can see, Venkat.
You can already see?
Yeah.
No, I can't see it yet.
I can see that too now.
Not yet for me. No. I'm refreshing the cache. Deleted. I mean, not really deleted, but let me use different and then see if we can. There you go. I got it. So just by changing your A record you're able to change the destination where it's going. Okay. But a record is not the only one, guys. I want you to understand that a record is the most important record. That's an authoritative record. That's where your request will be forwarded to. But then let's talk about what is this MX record. This is mail exchange records. So let's say you own your domain, sonicvisionllc.com, and now you want mails. You want the mail capability, email capability. Let's say Venkat at this website, I want that. Okay, I want to provide email capability for all of my users with this domain name. How can I do that? Well, that's where your MX record come into picture. MX records are for emails. So what I did for my this domain is I use a Google Apps account. Okay, I set up Google Apps, and you have to prove that this website is owned by you. It's with a simple TXT record. They'll ask you to put a simple TXT record, and we'll put the TXT record in the DNS here. Yeah, how do I create a new record? Simple, create a new record set, and then let's say make domain name, and then I'll say TXT. Okay. There is another one called TXT record. TXT record is a simple text record. It can be, information about about you. So what Google does is, to prove you that you own your account, they will give you a long auto-generated number, that alphanumeric key. They ask you to put it in the TXT record, and they will make a DNS call to the TXT record, and then they'll say that, okay, does it match with what I sent it? It's like your multi-factor authentication. Okay, so once once you are proved that you own that website, then they will let you create your email account, and then what they'll say is, hey, these are my mail servers. When somebody sends some email to these ones, these are my mail servers. Okay, please put these DNS records in your, whoever owns your domain. In my case, it's AWS, Route53, and then go put these as MX records. MX records help you send and receive emails with your domain name. Make sense?
Yeah, Venkat. How do we create one more time that Google account? Yeah, sorry.
Oh, Google. How do I create your mails?
Yes.
Okay. So what you have to do is, it's a typical process. Google Apps. Okay. gsuite.google.com. Go to this website. Okay. And this is where you have to you have to get started. And this is Google for small businesses. It's not for small. It's a big companies also. A company with 10,000 employees can go for this Google Suite. Okay, or Microsoft Office 365. They will give you that. So with Google, right, what they give, they will give the email, they will give the Google Word, Google Excel, Google Docs essentially. And with Office 365, Microsoft provides the same, but you will get your Word, your Word, Excel, PowerPoints. Along with that, you will get an email account also. And what they will say is, these are my host names. Okay, please put them in your DNS records as an MX record. Come back and put it here. And what is happening is, since this guy Route53 owns, okay, so since Route53 owns the sonicvisionllc.com, when a new email come up, it will say that, hey, who do I forward this email to? Okay, I don't know who do I forward to, but these are the MX records. So I will forward to these 6 guys or one of the 5 guys randomly. So it will go ahead and send that request to these guys. And these guys these are the mail servers. These like your Microsoft Exchange servers. And these guys know what to do when a mail is received or mail is sent. Make sense?
Yep. And does Google charge for that?
Oh yeah, Google charge $6 per month per user or $10 per month per user, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. I don't believe anyone gives for free, actually. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but take a look at that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is your MX record and this is your namespace records. Okay, if you do not, in my case, this domain is owned by me in Route 53 itself. So Route 53 automatically created these two records. One is namespace, name server records. The other one is SOA. What is that? State startup authority record. This is about about you and contact details. It's not a big deal, but this name server is very crucial one. Meaning, who owns your record? Who owns your record? Is it GoDaddy owns it, or is it Amazon owns it, or is it Google owns it, or is it Microsoft owns it? Who owns it? Well, that's how these 4 records will tell you that this is owned by AWS. Let's say I bought domain from GoDaddy, but I have a domain with GoDaddy, but I want to use Route 53 for my DNS. How do I do that? Well, all you have to do is bring their NS records, okay, and then bring and set up their NS records here, and that's it. Pretty much, whoever has that NS record, they know how to forward your request to. They'll find out the appropriate A record and they will forward your request to that. It's that simple. So when you register your domain, by default, you will get these 2 records, NS record and SOA record. Well, that's about Route 53. I showed it to you, a couple of ways. One is your pure IPv4, your no alias, or I also showed it to you in an alias way. But what I want you to do is don't take simple EC2 and S3, create an application load balancer, and then it will pop up here. See, I happen to have an ELB here. Let's go take a look at application load balancer. Do I really have one? And by the way, I wanted to talk to you guys about static IP. Please remind me if I forget. Okay, so this is a web server application load balancer. Yeah, listeners, does it forward to anything right now? Are there any target groups? Sure. Are there any targets? Yeah, there are no targets, so it's useless. Okay, you get it. But you can add newly created guy to this guy. And now this is my application load balancer. And let's go, I'll take my application ARN DNS name. This is my DNS. Look at this one, guys. DNS name is this one, and in brackets, they're putting a record. I want you to understand from here onwards, when you say a record, MX record, NS record, SOA record, all of that, it's a Route 53, please. Okay. Copy that DNS name and then see if you're getting it. Yep, it's so I have a application load balancer that's forwarding the request to my EC2 instance. I'll just show you anyway. It's so simple, right? So Route 53, there's no big deal. You can, so another way, go here and alias, yes, but it's not S3. I want to forward to my application load balancer. There you go. This is my application load balancer. That's it. And go change, check your propagation, and maybe okay, wait for it to be propagated, and then now go take a look at Sonic Vision LLC, and you should see that whatever serving from the application load balancer.
In that case, we have different IP all over now, right? Because
yes, you do not have IP dependency. Yep. You do not have. So your request is, your request is taken by Route 53. It is forwarding to application load balancer. Your application load balancer is backed by one EC2 instance now, but you can auto scale it to go up to 1,000 EC2 instances. Does it make sense? Okay, it's that simple, guys. I'll put it back so that my website works. And any other questions? It's important. You will pick up at least a couple of points in the exam from Route 53. Okay, it's an important service, and it's your front end for all of your requests coming from all over the web. Okay, your Route 53 is the first guy that come into picture. So you better know. Okay, so I'll go ahead and sign this out, and I'll sign back in to my old account and see if we have any luck with the pending registration. Route 53. Okay, looks like pending requests are gone and registered domains. Yes, this is my domain and I got it. So what does it mean? Well, click on it and you'll have your, this is your registration and this is all the details about you, and your rest of the world will see it when you go to this website. You know, these are the people that go to dashboard. Yes.
So one quick question here. So
Yes.
you have 2 accounts.
Yep.
Okay. Just consider one as your sandbox console, and the other one is a production console. You're maintaining 2 different accounts, but you still want to copy that Route 53 to this, whatever you're using there, to this. Will that applicable or not? You get my point? Like,
Yep.
Because I don't want to have, I just want to replicate that Route 53. I don't really want to go and create everything again here.
Right.
I just want to copy all those to this account because I was maintaining one non-production environment.
No. There's no good way to do that. And in fact, there is a good reason for that. How you want to solve your use case is that will be, you know, whatever you said, right? That will be a very good your exam question also. How do I solve this one? Well, to solve that, you want to have 2 different VPCs, 2 different virtual private clouds, are pretty much they are having their own data centers, but they will share the same Route 53. Okay, so most complicated companies that I've seen, like the real, you know, NASDAQ listed company, we managed with one AWS account. I'm not saying that's the only way. Yeah, you know, I've seen instances where every account doing it, like your HR doing it, and you know, HR having their own AWS accounts, finance department having their own AWS accounts, but they cannot share it unless it's public. If it's a public IP, you can do it. Ravi, maybe that's no. Let me stop you there. If it's a public IP, absolutely you can have a DNS registration. In fact, forget about, okay, let me answer it. Forget about your 2 AWS accounts. Maybe you have all the assets in somewhere else, let's say Azure. Okay, can I use Route 53 just for DNS? Absolutely, you can. Just bring over your public IP and have Route 53 as your front gate and forward all the requests to your public IP that's in Azure. It's that simple. But that's not the question you are asking, right? You want to be able to alias them. If I understand your question correctly.
Correct. Yeah, correct. I don't want, from the DNS standpoint, I want to get this. I just want to apply those, whatever we created in just making it 2 different environments, right? Because currently we have set up such a way that we have different accounts for
different accounts. Huh?
Yeah.
Different accounts. I can take it back and you know, I can check one more time, but You can share with different AWS accounts, but not to the question that you're asking. No, Ravi. But I can get back to you tomorrow if there is a way. Yep.
Sure. Thank you.
Yep. So, okay, our DNS guys came in. Okay. So this is my one hosted zone. Now, earlier we didn't see it. It's in pending requests. Click on hosted zones. And now this is my record. See this one? As I told you, by default, you will get the name server records, meaning this guy knows where to send it. This is, AWS. You never have to touch it if you own this. But if GoDaddy is your domain registrar, then you have to get their name servers here. Make sense? And now you can create a new record set and say make domain name and a record and enter your IPv4 address and then just click on create. Okay. I don't need to do this again, do I?
No, but if you have any Java Venkat.com S3 bucket created, then it would automatically populate here, right? Since you are
I have to select alias yes. See this one here? I don't have any S3 website endpoints, nothing,
Okay.
right? Just because you asked, it's so simple. Or I have this guy here, right? I can do a make bucket, yeah. Okay, I got new S3 bucket, simple. Now go to Route 53, you will see that guy. 1 second, sir. Now create a new A record. A record is what you have to look for. Alias, yes. S3 website. Where is this guy? Okay, let's, did I have it? Okay.
Are they not in different account, Venkat?
I don't think so. They're in the same account, right? Let's go check. There's no typo. Oh, okay. You know why? Can anyone guess why it did not show up? Any wild thoughts?
It's a static
Yes.
website.
You have to make that a static website hosting with your index.html and error.html. Now go to Route 53. I know I asked someone to hold their thought. Please hold, we'll just come back. So alias, yes. There you go. Now I'll put, that's it, create. That's my A record now. Now let's try going to this guy. Let's first of all check the DNS propagation. Curious. Okay, it's like all over right now, but we'll see. Let's try going to this website. Okay, 403 forbidden. There you go. 403 forbidden. Because not everything is public there. Let's go to S3. Permissions. Okay, sorry. It can be public, but are they public? No. First of all, it doesn't have any objects. You can add index. Upload. Let's go ahead and do that. Permissions, bucket policy is the right way. Policy generator, I know I'm doing. Allow. Principal. Oh, sorry. Is a common S3 bucket policy allow principal no action. Let's say all actions on this. Okay, essentially I want to make everything policy as invalid resource. Okay, the resource is is it S3 colon resource star? Something like that. No, I think slash star slash. No. At this point, you know how to do that? Do you guys know? If you don't know the syntax, what do you do? I mean, check the documentation is one way, but what I will do is I'll go to
UI and update it, right?
I'll go to IAM and let me see how many policies I have it here. S3 full access, Amazon read-only access, and I'll do a cheap way. Resource is star. Yeah, this is correct. Action is, you know what? I'll just copy paste this guy. That's it. Oh, missing required field principal. Principal allow.
Do we have any resources in there in that bucket?
No, I do not. But no, I do. But that's not the point, right?
Okay.
It's I want to give. You know what? Let's start the bucket policy generator one more time. S3 bucket policy. Allow it. So comma. Is it? No, it's star. Principal is star.
And here, I think you might have to give the ARN machine to get activate ARN.
Where is this guy? On this guy, I want to give everything. I want to. Can you say that again?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. And enter the complete bucket thing. ARN.
Okay. So the resource, yes. Now I wanted to say, give me everything. Oh, how can I put a bucket policy resource of star related to this particular bucket policy? I can't do that. I was being silly. So resource star makes sense in IAM. Here it makes sense because what I'm saying is across all S3 resources, meaning across all S3 buckets. But here I'm writing a bucket policy. My rule itself is specific to bucket. Does it make sense?
Yes,
save it.
It does. Yep.
Okay. Now you have a full public access. Now go. Ciao, Venka. Okay. What's wrong now? Let's try going into permissions. No, sorry, properties, static website hosting. Let's try going here first. Okay. Why? Oh, it's because
Is public access blocked on this yet? Or did we
it's because that particular file I have is this was not exclusive. This file was exclusively made private. There you go. So now my Route 53 should work, right? There you go. Everybody should be getting the same thing. Anyways, I know where I start. I started somewhere, and I wanted to show you guys something. But okay, that's good. Now, so who is holding thought? Somebody wanted to ask me a question.
Yeah, this is Raghu.
Yes, sir.
So I
Good
think,
time.
so suppose so I mean, if you have if you have the retail shop is holding, it's loading it wants to upload its website, create its website here. So can it have like two different buckets? I mean, one for for a specific season like Thanksgiving, wherein it wants its website to look like in a specific way, and so it will just or toggle one bucket on during a specific season and turn the other one on during other seasons.
The very good question. The first question is to you question back to you is it a static website, first of all?
Yeah.
Okay. So the reason I asked that question is if it's not static, you can't use S3. You know that. Yeah, but I wanted to emphasize that fact. Okay.
Yep,
so you wanted to have two different so you wanted to have two different buckets, depends on the season. Right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, like for example, for a CPA firm during tax season, it will show it in a specific way. During the other seasons, it will show in a regular way.
Yeah, definitely you can do that. Definitely you can do that. But your bucket name has to match with the domain name.
Okay.
Right? How do you solve that?
Okay, and you cannot keep on renaming them.
Exactly. I mean, you can do that, but there is no guarantee that you will get the same bucket name, right? The moment you release your bucket name, I could get it. Understood? So that's not the best way to architect it. So I'll tell you for your scenario, right? Simple. You said it's a static code. Okay, makes sense. Using S3 bucket makes a lot of sense. So use one bucket only. Put all of your static content, like how I put it, all the images, JavaScript files, everything. It's a truly an Angular application that's generated. So after that, whenever the season is changing it, just change your code, just upload it.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Right. So keep your copy, and I'm sure you may have you may be using some source code repository like a GitHub, right? So maintain two different versions of it, and the second one just deploy it. It takes less than a minute to deploy it.
Okay.
And then you can automate it. You can automate. You don't need to do that manually or anything. But I'm just saying, and there are 1,000 DevOps tools out there. So no, don't worry about it. Okay. One point I wanted to mention to you guys while I'm in this Route 53 subject is simple point. Go to EC2. This is my EC2, right? And I told you guys about this public DNS name. I told you guys about this public IP. Okay, maybe currently my my DNS name is pointing to S3 bucket, right? So I can safely point to this public IP, but this public IP is dynamically generated IP address by AWS. So please do not use this public IP. If you have an EC2 instance, if your Route 53 is backed by EC2 instance, is it a good idea? Not really. Always front-ended by application load balancer, but for some reason, if you happen to have that, okay, use a static IP. Okay, so there is a concept called elastic IPs here in the EC2 dashboard. Click on EC2 and see here, elastic IPs. I do not have any elastic IPs. Elastic IPs are static IPv4 addresses that AWS will give you from the pool. Use them. Well, if you have an elastic IP and do not assign it to any EC2 instance, then Amazon will charge you. So I want you to pay attention to that, but click on this allocate elastic IP, Amazon's pool of IPv4. Yes, please allocate an IPv4. Now this is a static IP. This is not going to change it. Now we can use this one. Let's say you have an EC2 instance here. Earlier Ravi's question. So let's say you have an EC2 instance here, but I don't, my Route 53 is not, how do I say that? My DNS provider is not Route 53, but it's in Azure, okay, or Google Cloud Platform or somewhere else. Let's say GoDaddy, okay? I can safely use this IP address and put it in the A record wherever I own that domain registrar. Does it make sense? Because this IP address will not change it. Now I want to assign this guy, okay? I want to assign this guy associate elastic IP address to my EC2 instance. This is my EC2 instance. Now, what it means is when I call this static IP now, every request will go to this my EC2 instance. And this is my static IP. You do not have to worry about IP address getting changed. It's not a dynamic one. Make sense? So now you can safely go put it in your Route 53. This guy, you can safely put it. How? When you have an IP address, this is an important question for your architect exam. If you have an IP address, do you use alias or not? You do not use an alias. You just put your hard-coded IP address there. That's it. And now you can go to Java Venkat, and then it goes to the static IP. I know it's the same stuff, but your bucket is not there anymore. Okay. I just wanted to mention that there is a concept called elastic IP. It could be asked in the exam. So elastic IP is a static IP that's static IPv4 address that's given from AWS pool of static IP addresses. Okay. And if you have an IP address, but do not associate to a running EC2 instance, then you will be charged for that. Okay. That's about Route 53. I wanted to, before I think about anything, do you guys have any questions?
Venkat.
Yes.
So in A type, let's see if I don't have elastic IP. I don't have a static IP.
Yep.
And I have a running instance on EC2.
Yep.
I have only one instance. Can I directly use that instance name there?
You cannot.
I cannot.
You
has
cannot.
To have IP address only, and I have to have elastic IP address for that only. Okay.
Got it. You got it. The reason is how many times do you use a single IP for anything, right? See here, you have S3 websites. Oh, by the way, this is a very, very important question. I'm glad you asked. Okay. So this is a good question in the exams. Okay. When you have an alias here, what all AWS resources can be aliased is the question. So see this one, you can have an S3 website endpoints, but it has to be an S3 static website. You can't create a bucket and then try doing it. We just did it. We just created a bucket and we did not make it a static website hosting enabled in that bucket. And then we were looking for that bucket. It did not appear. Make sense? And so S3 website endpoints, application load balancers, classic load balancers, network load balancers, okay, CloudFront distributions, absolutely possible because CloudFront distribution is a good front door application, front door service. So Elastic Beanstalk environments, Beanstalk is AWS answer to platform as a service. Now, if you code in certain way using, using certain platform, then pretty much you don't have to worry about the servers. That is Elastic Beanstalk. That's a platform as a service solution from AWS. So You can provide your VPC endpoints, your API gateways. You can, you can provide all of this, but not your EC2. They can fool you with that. I have an EC2 instance. I'll put EC2 public DNS name in the Route 53. You cannot do that. You have to bring that IP address, the public IP address, and create an A record with a no alias and directly put the IPv4 address there. Does it make sense? But the only problem with that approach is that your IP address can be constantly changing. So please do not use that. Rather, allocate an elastic IP, associate that elastic IP to an EC2 instance, and then create an A record here, like how we did it. This is not a dynamic IP of the EC2. This is a static. This is an elastic IP. Make sense? I know I answered your question in a lengthy way, but I'm glad you asked, because this is one of the important exam questions.
And we can create load balancer and just put it there. We don't have to worry
Absolutely,
about it.
absolutely.
Yeah,
and that's the right way to do it also.
Can we create a load balancer on only one EC2 instance?
Absolutely, you can.
Okay. So in
Absolutely,
that way,
you can.
I just don't know, I just feel like,
Yep. No,
do we need elastic IP, or we can get away without it?
So ask yourself, what do you want to do it? Well, you can do an elastic IP, sure, but you are an architect, right? So how do you architect it? Which way you want to go with it? What if EC2 instance is shut down for whatever the reason? It's not your reason, but Amazon did something on the underlying hardware, and then it was shut down. What do you do in that case? The elastic IP is can be associated with only one EC2 instance. What do you do in that case? It's your customers will get impacted, right?
Yep.
But if you have an application load balancer, you can create an auto scaling group and say that I only, understood. You don't need scaling. You need just one server up and running. At least if one instance is down, then ASG can pick up and then create a brand new instance and add it to the pool. Much better solution. And that's how we should think. So understood? So all these questions, we have to be able to just think loud as an architect. Okay, always put a architect hat. How much availability are you giving it? So it's availability matters, right? So the next topics I wanted to start is the database, the relational database service. So how can you create a relational database in AWS? So we will create a relational database in cloud. Okay, probably will create a table and such. And there are a couple of aspects, a couple of ways we can combine all the concepts that we have learned together. So we can build a high availability PHP based WordPress site. Okay, I don't know how much familiar you guys are with PHP. I mean, you don't need to be really. There is a brand new, there is a, WordPress, get the zip file of the WordPress code. Okay, create an EC2 instance, push it out there, and then scale it. Create an ALB, and then it will point to the database. It will point to the relational database. So the way WordPress site works is that it will dump all the, oh, by the way, mine is a WordPress site on this website that I'm doing right now. It's not I didn't build it from scratch. I didn't want to do it like how I did earlier. This is a WordPress site. It's a beautiful looking. I mean, it's good for what it does, right? So I will show you the brief concepts of WordPress, and then we'll install relational database tomorrow, and then we'll do this this whole exercise. So I'll spend a few minutes on what a WordPress is, and so this is a WordPress site. WordPress is a PHP based website templating tool essentially. Okay. So if I want to go to my WordPress admin /wp-admin, that's how you'll go, and I'll have to log in. Okay, so this is 1 second, Rico. So this is a WordPress admin page. I wanted to make sure it gets recorded. Okay. So, yep, this is how it looks. And at the high level, there are two main concepts: posts and pages. And this is the pages. And so I was showing it something like this, and then come here, and you can add a new section here. That's a new paragraph. It's that simple. If you want to preview this guy, you can look at it. Oh, this is how it's going to look. This is my new content. And if I like it, I can click on update and publish. If I don't like it, I'll leave it. Okay. So now tell me, this is about the WordPress. I'll answer your question in a second. Okay. There you go. So what it does behind the scenes, every single time when you create a new pages, new posts, this is not the way they architected is that it will dump all of this information into MySQL database. It doesn't have to be MySQL, but it's 99.9% of the times it's MySQL. Okay. So it dumps into the database. So in database, if you look at it, there are tables like WP underscore pages, WP underscore media, WP underscore posts. That's where it stores everything. So they wrote a PHP based framework, it's like Spring framework for Java. So this WordPress is a PHP based framework that will help you. And behind the scenes, I mean, you don't have to touch, you don't even have to know where your database is. You just configure once. You just one-time configuration, you show where your database is. It will automatically insert the tables. It will automatically insert the content, every single time you create a new page, new media, new post, everything. It does everything. So what we can do is we can build a site like this. Okay, it's so simple. So you have the source code already. WordPress. Go to WordPress.com. And where is your start your website, and then go download it. I don't know. Oh, I pressed WordPress. Huh? WordPress download. I want to get the source code, so I'll get the download. Yep, download WordPress 5.4, and all you need is your MySQL. You have to have your Apache. It needs Apache. All of the source goes into your Apache parent directory. Apache documents directory, var www.html. That's where it goes. And it's a very straightforward. I will show you in the Unix commands here. Take a look at this one. I want all of you to take a look at this one. So we are updating, installing Apache, and then using this Amazon Linux Extras. It's not part of Yum, but there is another package manager called Amazon Linux Extras. Because we are using Amazon Linux, you can install your PHP. Okay. And then, and this is how you can write your simple PHP code. So less than question mark, everything between less than question mark and then question mark greater than, and less than question mark PHP, and then question mark greater than, everything in between will be a PHP code. Outside of this one is HTML. So your PHP is like your JavaScript pages, that's all. Okay, in JavaScript, JSP pages, I'm sorry. So your JSP
And
page,
where will you,
your JSP page contains static and dynamic, how you can mix your JSP scriptlets and all with the HTML stuff. Yes, go ahead, sir.
so where will you place this PHP code?
Oh, where will you place? It's the same location, where www.html. I'll show you this tomorrow completely. I will show you this, but I'm giving some background, what to expect. So here, what we're doing is it's a Bootstrap script to install Apache, PHP, and WordPress also. So once you install PHP, get WordPress latest.zip file and unzip it and copy into var www.html. Okay, and you can safely remove that folder and safely remove that zip file, and then change your permission to 755 to on this WP content. So within var www.html, there is something called WordPress content. So you have to give the 755 to that full read write to everybody. Read for all these guys and write for you. And then give make Apache the user and the owner and the group, sorry, and then var www.html WP content, this whole location, you're making it, you're changing the permission essentially, and that's it. Then once you go to your home page, the WordPress code realizes that you are coming here for the first time. Then it will ask you, hey, let's take a minute to set up a WordPress admin account. So then it will ask you, hey, where is your database, by the way? Then we will give database details. So we are going to install MySQL in AWS and then expose that MySQL port 3306 port only to EC2 instance running your PHP. Okay. So we'll have a security group there. And then, pretty much that's what it is. And I'm planning on doing that one. And I'll also show you guys some Java code. What we'll do is I'll install Java. And then since most of you guys are familiar with Java, so I'll install Java on one of the EC2 instances, and I'll install Tomcat. And locally, I'll create a simple WAR file. I'll connect to the database, and let's say simple weather service. We can write a simple REST. Using Spring Boot, you can write a simple REST-based web service. So, yeah, and I'll open port 8080 to the public to start with, and then we can put an application load balancer in between. And you make a call on 80, so application load balancer will be listening on port 80, but it will be forwarding to the targets on 8080. I will show you how that looks. And then also I am going to show you a piece of Java code using AWS S3 SDK. That SDK will essentially interact programmatically through obviously your access key ID and secret access key. With both of them, how can you interact with S3 programmatically? And at that time, your sky is the limit. I'll show probably the simplistic one, but you can take it to any level. You can upload 100 files from your local machine using CLI and use your Java code to kind of list through it, and then do it in a reverse chronological way, take top 10 and put it in process in one way, the remaining 90 you process in another way. You can go whatever earlier, whatever the use case Ravi was talking about, you can absolutely do that. So that's what I will show you guys. That's my plan for tomorrow. And next week is all about VPC, virtual private cloud. That's the, one of the most important aspects for both real time and exam perspective. And once VPC is done, then we can probably, we can actually complicate the things with whatever the application that we're building. We can complicate it. We can put all the database stuff in one VP, one subnet, put this web servers in another subnet, we can do it. And yeah, what you guys can do after we learn VPCs is that separate one VPC for production servers, another VPC for, QA or staging servers, so that they will never be able to talk to each other. It's like they have their own little data centers, their own. It's very important concepts. Yeah, that's about it. I'm excited. Any questions? Regu, you asked a non-AWS question, so I just held you like that. I'll take your question. Towards the end. If nobody has any questions, I know I wanted to show you that CloudFront. I wanted to show you guys how it looks. I wanted to show you guys when you make a request to CloudFront URL, it will say that CloudFront miss or CloudFront pass. When it misses, meaning, it's not a cached content. It went to the origin and then grabbed the content. But how your request is served from various, destinations. Each time you go to your incognito mode and go to the same URL. One time it will be served from, actually from, I live in Michigan. So one time it was served from ORD, Chicago. So the way the CloudFront distributions, the edge locations are set up is they use these airport codes, ORD, O'Hare International, ORD for Chicago, and ATL for Atlanta. And my request went to Atlanta one time, went to Chicago another time. One time it went to Newark, I think, NW something. So I wanted to show you that, but I'll show you that maybe tomorrow. Okay. Now Rego. So your your WordPress, what do they charge? Yeah? Was that question?
Yeah, I mean, do they charge anything?
So if you want to build something like this on your own, okay, I highly recommend you do. I highly, highly, highly recommend you do. So all you need is EC2 instance, and then you need backed by RDS. RDS is free for a whole year. Yeah, we will take a free tier. We'll install MySQL in a free tier, and then you pick up an EC2 instance. And I highly recommend putting an application load balancer, but that's that costs some money. And then if you happen to have a domain name, then front end with Route53, then you're all set. So what is the charge? Well, your RDS charge, your RDS charges, EC2 charges, your application load balancer charges, and a bit in Route53. I mean, we are only talking about few bucks a month, but that's the combination. Everything is free. You're just doing it for yourself, right? Whatever Amazon charges for all of this. But first month is free for the whole year is free. RDS is free, EC2 free tier eligible, T2 micro is free, only application load balancer and Route 53, few bucks. Okay, but is it a good idea to do all of this just for the WordPress site? Probably not. You know, managing database on your own, all of this. There are some people out there, they call it managed website, managed WordPress hosting. I use it. There are some good people. There are top 10 WordPress managed hosting. They take care of everything. It's just a couple of clicks, then you get everything. Okay. WP Engine is one of them. Top 10 best managed. I think mine is SiteGround. This guy, SiteGround.com. They charge very less, you know, almost $10 a month or something like that for managed hosting. You don't have to worry about the database. You don't have to worry about, you know, EC2 instance, everything. But I wanted to show you guys how a typical architecture looks like. Okay. Anything else that you want me to pick up tomorrow? That's my plan. I laid out my plan, I think.
And maybe you'll upload the video for this talk today, right?
I will upload, promise. Okay. You asked me a couple of times. I did not upload the previous one, right? Last Saturday one, I'll do it. Those ones also. That's all, guys. If you don't have any questions, have a great day. Stay home, stay healthy. And yep, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you, Venkat.
Right. Thanks,
Thank you,
Venkat.
Venkat.
Have a fantastic day. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You
Bye.
too.
Thank you.